This dark painting exposed shocking truths about our past, but what happened next? In a dusty attic, hidden away from prying eyes, lay a painting that seemed to breathe with secrets. The moment Jenna unearthed it, a chill gripped her spine. Shadows danced across the canvas, swirling in a riot of dark greens and haunting blacks. It wasn't just an artwork, it was a portal to a grim history. The figures within looked alive, their eyes boring into her soul, begging to tell their forgotten stories. Who had painted this? What horrors did it capture? As the sunlight flickered through the cobwebs, Jenna noticed something odd. One corner of the canvas bore an unsettling inscription, written in a frantic scrawl. It read, "Fear the dawn of truth." The word sent a shiver down her back. It was as if they were a warning from another time, a plea to the living. Unease rolled in her stomach like a thunderous storm, and she couldn't shake the sensation that she wasn't the first to stumble upon this cursed relic. Wide-eyed, Jenna moved closer. Each brushstroke seemed to pulse with some unholy energy, tugging at her nerve. What kind of truth could a painting hold? And why did it feel like it could whisper secrets if she listened long enough? She felt drawn into its depths, as if the colors were beckoning her to step into the nightmarish scenes. Was this merely a piece of art, or was it a window to something darker, a memory too painful to be buried? Her heart raced, the air thickening with an unease that felt alive. The attic grew colder, shadows converging around her, and the floorboards creaked ominously under her shifting weight. Panic surged within her chest, but her curiosity was a too potent force to resist. Yet, something stirred in the corner of her mind, a whispering fear that the discovery of this painting might also unlock a door she was ready to open. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Jenna's breath hitched as she stepped back. There, among the darkened hues, she saw a flicker of something else, an image barely discernible. What was it? A figure? Something lurking? Her eyes widened as she felt an electric shock through her body, like a warning bell in her brain. The uncanny sensation pressed against her, leaving her to wonder, was it one of the painted souls pleading for help? Or something more sinister, lying in wait for a chance to break free? As fear churned in her gut, a soft whisper brushed her ear, "Find me." The voice was like a caress, both inviting and threatening. Jenna's heart raced. Had she really heard that, or was her imagination running wild? The painting seemed darker now, every ounce of it pulling her in, daring her to chase the cryptic message. What lay behind that chilling phrase? She couldn't tear herself away, the chilling mystery clinging to her like an unwanted shadow. And as she stood there, wavering between dread and allure, she had only one question in her mind: what hidden truths awaited her, and would she survive the revelations? Jenna's pulse quickened, a frantic drumbeat resounding in her ears. She took a step back, almost stumbling against the old trunk behind her. The attic felt like it was closing in. Darkness clung to the corners, and the strange, whispering voice floated through the stale air, weaving into her thoughts. Find me. Could she truly be hearing something, or was it merely her mind playing tricks? She shook her head, trying to dispel the creeping dread, but the sensation lurked, persistent and seductive. Leaning closer, Jenna forced herself to focus on the painting again. The flicker she had spotted was growing, morphing into a figure emerging from the depths of dark strokes, a woman weeping, her face partially obscured by an intricate veil. "Who are you?" she murmured, the words escaping her lips before she could think. A chill swept through the attic like a gust of wind, and Jenna felt the hairs on the back of her neck rise. The figure's tears dripped like black ink, pooling onto the canvas. She could almost feel sadness radiating from it, a suffocating weight that threatened to crush her spirit. An image of the woman flashed in her mind, a life lost, a tragedy untold. Before she could process it, Jenna stumbled forward, entranced. She had to know more. Each brushstroke began to pulse with life, pulling at her with an invisible thread, almost as if it were alive. She reached out a hesitant hand, her fingers brushing against the rough texture of the canvas. A jolt shot through her, leaving her breathless. Suddenly, the room darkened. Shadows whispered along the walls, shifting in a frantic dance. Jenna yanked her hand back. What the hell is happening? Panic surged, and she searched for an escape, but the attic felt like a pocket in time, an inescapable trap. Then, an unnerving crack echoed through the room, followed by a guttural whisper that seemed to come from the very painting itself. Help her. Help who? She gasped, her voice trembling. I don't even know her. Help me. The word hung in the air, heavy with desperation. Jenna clutched her chest, her heart racing. This wasn't just an old painting, it was undeniably tethered to someone: the woman, the sorrow, the urgency. A terrifying realization seeped into her mind. Was the painting a cry for help from the past? She needed to uncover the truth, to understand what had happened. But the deeper she delved, the more she felt the clock ticking down, counting those precious moments of clarity. Shadows grew darker and more insistent, pulling her toward the depths of despair within the canvas. Do I have to? She whispered, as if the very question might sway whatever dark force encased her. Answers chased fragments of her courage, multiplying her fears with each passing moment. The voice echoed again, find me before the dawn. What did that even mean? Jenna closed her eyes, wrestling with the idea of abandoning this quest. Yet, part of her was inextricably bound to the unanswered questions. She couldn't just turn her back on this moment. With newfound determination, she opened her eyes wide and looked again. The figures within the painting had shifted, the sorrow deepening into a palpable abyss. I will find you, she whispered defiantly. The moment the words left her lips, the temperature dropped even further, a bone-deep chill wrapping around her. She shuddered, her breath visible in the dim light. What lay on the other side of this haunting weight? As daylight glimmered faintly beyond the attic window, Jenna felt the weight of the world resting on her shoulders, uncovering twisted truths or sealing her fate in darkness. Time was slipping away like grains of sand, and her resolve was being tested. Would she dare to face whatever lurked within, to seek not only the truth but the souls hidden in this masterpiece? With determination mingled with dread, she set her mind to decipher the secrets of the painting. But little did she know, the clock was ticking down to a reckoning she could scarcely comprehend. Jenna's breath hitched in her throat. The chill wrapped tighter around her, making it hard to think straight. She steadied herself, taking a shaky step back to break the trance. I need to focus, she muttered, trying to gather her racing thoughts. The whispers in the room shifted, forming layers of sound that bled into one another, overlapping like a disturbing chorus. She turned her back on the painting momentarily to survey the attic. Dust particles floated in the faint beams of light that filtered in through the window, almost mocking her with their quiet existence. The clock on the wall ticked loudly, and with each second, Jenna felt the urgency pressing down on her like a weight. Help me, the voice echoed again, more insistent this time. Jenna spun back around, eyes wide. Could it be real? The air in the room felt thick with emotion, and she could almost see the air tremble with the power of 1,000 sorrows. The painting was a portal, she realized. A connection to something deeply rooted in pain and longing. She had to find out who the woman was and why she was trapped within those dark strokes. But where would she even start? Instinctively, Jenna took a step closer. As she did, the shadows deepened, swirling like a storm brewing inside the frame. She reached up, slowly tracing the outline of the weeping woman with her fingers, every nerve in her body firing with electricity. Suddenly, the room plunged into darkness. Jenna gasped, heart racing. The familiar whispers intensified, cascading over her like a wave. Shapes danced in her peripheral vision, but when she turned, there was nothing, only the painting before her, now radiant with an eerie glow. Look deeper, the voice commanded, vibrating through the air like thunder. What do you want from me? She spoke shakily, her voice rising above the chaos surrounding her. I can't help you if you don't tell me who you are. In that instant, the painting unleashed a memory, vivid and visceral. She was thrown back not to a distant past, but into the very fabric of the painting itself. She saw glimpses of a grand hall filled with laughter, a young girl in a flowing white dress dancing among people who loved her. Then, darkness swept in a screaming silence consuming the laughter and memories. The young girl's face, twisted with sorrow, morphed into the woman in the painting, tears falling like sharp raindrops. Panic clawed at Jenna, urgency slicing through her fog of confusion. What happened? She cried, gripping the mantelpiece for support. Find the truth. The voice faded into a somber whisper, and Jenna felt a lightness in her chest, followed by a rush of fear. A blurred image streaked across her mind, a name, a date, a secret long buried. Could she dare to pull it free? Suddenly, the attic door creaked open behind her, sending a gust of air that sent the dust swirling around her once more. Jenna whipped around, eyes wide. Who's there? She shouted, feeling vulnerable in her solitude. Show yourself. A figure stood in the doorway, silhouetted against the opening. Jenna's heart raced as she recognized the shadowy form. It was Cole, the neighbor who had warned her not to explore the attic. His eyes glinted with urgency as he stepped forward. Jenna, you have to get out of here, he pleaded, voice tight with panic. It's not safe. What do you know? She demanded, desperation creeping into her tone. He hesitated, glancing toward the painting behind her. You don't understand the danger you're in. You shouldn't have touched it. Touched what? What does that mean? The urgency surged within her, a fresh wave of determination overshadowing her fear. She couldn't back away now. The truth felt tantalizingly close. The secrets in the painting had already begun to unravel, and she wouldn't let them slip through her fingers. As he moved closer, the shadows flickered again, and Jenna felt the temperature drop. Cole's eyes widened in horror, and he grabbed her arm. Leave. Now. But Jenna shook free. No. I have to do this. I need to see it through. But the echoes of anger and sorrow from the painting were rising, clawing at the edges of her sanity, and now the boundaries of reality seemed to bend around her. As danger loomed, Jenna realized she was racing against more than just the ticking clock. With the truth on the horizon, an exhilarating fear coursed through her veins. Would she be ready to confront the revelation that awaited? And just as Jenna turned back to the painting, an unearthly wail erupted from the canvas, echoing her own fears. The wail sliced through the air, raw and haunting, locking Jenna in place. Every instinct screamed at her to flee, yet her feet anchored her to the floor, tangled in a web of urgency and dread. Cole's face blanched, and his grip tightened on her shoulder, tugging her back into reality. Don't listen. It's too late, he began, but the wail crescendoed, drowning out his words, wrapping them in a shroud of darkness. Jenna's pulse raced faster than the sound, her heart thundering against her ribs. Beneath the surface of her fear, a flicker of defiance ignited. She wanted answers. She needed to know who the woman was and what tragedy held her captive in this twisted artwork. Help me. The voice echoed again, a plunging plea that resonated deep within her bones. In that moment, Jenna felt a magnetic pull, an irresistible call to uncover the truth hidden beneath the canvas. Shadows shimmered, swirling closer. The outline of the woman became sharper, her expression painfully vivid, as if begging Jenna to step forward. Jenna glanced at Cole, searching his face for any sign of assurance. But all she saw was fear, his mouth a thin line, eyes dark and wide. With a deep breath, she turned back to the painting. I will help you, she vowed, though uncertainty gripped her. The air thickened again, the room felt charged, alive, as though the painting itself breathed with expectation. Jenna's fingers brushed the canvas lightly, and the moment they touched, the world around her shattered like glass. She was yanked into the painting, falling through a kaleidoscope of colors and sounds. Brilliant lights exploded around her, and she fought to orient herself, to reclaim control. Suddenly, she landed. The ground felt solid beneath her feet, but the surroundings twisted in disarray. Gone was the attic. Now, she stood in a grand hall but not the one she'd glimpsed earlier. This place was darker, tainted by memories of despair. Chandeliers swung gently, draped in shadows that flickered like dying candles that eye in the distance. She heard sobbing. Jenna felt drawn to the sound, each step heavy with an unseen force pulling her deeper into the hall. As she approached, fragments of whispered conversations filled the air, snippets of history begging to be heard. Never forgive, a voice lingered, fraught with pain. The child, she's lost to us. Her heart raced as she turned a corner, and there she saw her, the woman from the painting. She stood in a corner, back turned, weeping softly. Jenna approached cautiously, every fiber of her being craving to comfort this broken soul. Please, I want to help, Jenna said, her voice gentle but firm. The woman turned slowly, revealing a face streaked with tears, eyes hollow and full of sorrow. Help? The woman echoed, her voice a ghostly whisper. No one can help me. Why are you trapped? Jenna urged, tears creeping into her own eyes. What binds you here? A tremor rumbled through the air, shaking the hall. Before the woman could respond, the shadows grew denser, coiling like vipers around Jenna. Panic surged in her chest. Jenna! Cole's voice sliced through the chaos, penetrating the dark. She spun around, but he remained just out of reach, his features twisted with urgency. Get out! You don't want to know. His words sliced through the shadows. No! Jenna screamed back, the desire for truth pushing her forward, gnawing at her very being. She had to understand. The woman's plight was intertwined with her fate, but just as the woman began to speak, the shadows lunged, enveloping Jenna in a spiraling darkness, chanting an ancient sorrow. Jenna! Cole's cry echoed, reverberating off the walls, desperate, but it began to fade as the darkness tightened its grip. And in the throes of obscurity, Jenna felt a strange warmth surge through her, igniting something deep within. Was it courage or madness? Just before losing herself completely, she glimpsed a glimmer of a memory, a name shining brightly against the backdrop of despair. What was it trying to tell her? The shroud of darkness pulsed, then surged forward, drowning everything out. The last thing she heard was the woman's voice, a chilling promise laced with both hope and warning. Find him, before it's too late. Jenna gasped as the darkness embraced her, clinging like a shroud. That all-consuming void pulsed, each beat echoing her racing heart. The woman's last words echoed in her mind, find him, before it's too late. Suddenly, the oppressive darkness receded, and light burst forth like a sunrise. Jenna found herself back in the grand hall, but this time the atmosphere crackled with a frenetic energy. She looked around, her breath hitching in her throat. This was the same hall, yet it felt different. There was urgency in the air, a palpable tension. Startled whispers surrounded her. The memory of sobbing lingered, but it wasn't coming just from the woman anymore. Fragments of conversations wove through the air, disjointed yet clear. Stolen from us, we must not let it happen again. She's the key, she carries the weight of his sin. Jenna's palms grew clammy. Who were they referencing? What burden did she bear? The more steps she took, the more the whispers escalated, drowning her in doubt. Was she part of something larger, something twisted and haunting? The sounds intensified, spiraling into a cacophony. Jenna pressed her hands to her ears, but it did nothing to quell the rising tide of voices. Panic surged anew as she turned, desperately seeking Cole. Was he still out there, waiting for her? She needed to escape, to pull him from the abyss she felt swallowing her. Jenna! The voice rang through the din, strong and fierce. Cole! She spun around, relief flooding her. But as she caught his gaze, the expression in his eyes sent chills down her spine. It was a mixture of terror and regret. Get away from there. He tore through the shadows as if fighting a storm. You don't understand what you're dealing with. What do you mean? She cried, stepping back as a shadow slithered from behind her, reaching for her. It felt alive, as if craving her warmth. That painting, it's not just a door. It's a prison, a reminder of a past we can't escape. There's a reason that woman is trapped. She's part of a tragedy where I once. We were both. His voice broke, and fear laced every word. Part of what? The darkness hissed around them, and Jenna felt terror scaling her heart, squeezing it like a vice. He hesitated. It was in that silence she felt the brittle air become sharpened, ready to slice through the moments between them. She needed answers, but the fear swirling in Cole's eyes told her she might not want to know. Before she could press for more, the shadows coalesced again, swirling around her. This time, she sensed a presence, a figure cloaked in darkness that pulsed as if breathing. The whispers fell to a hush, replaced by a low, droning sound that vibrated through the air like an impending storm. Then, from the depths of shadows, a name unfurled, a name she couldn't shake off, whispering through her mind like an echo from the past, Evelyn. Evelyn. The name slipped from her lips like a spell. Cole's eyes widened with horror. Don't say it. He shouted, but it was too late. The shadows surged forward, clamoring around Jenna like a swarm drawn to a beacon. The shadow before her warped, shifting fluidly. In the distance, she glimpsed the woman Evelyn, her sorrowful expression now replaced with a look of desperation. Find him, Jenna. She cried out, her voice infused with both urgency and fear. He's the only one who can break the curse. Who is he? Jenna shouted back, her voice trembling. Who do I need to find? But Evelyn's face twisted into a mask of despair, shadows enveloping her like a dark silhouette, swallowing her into the depths. The ground shifted beneath Jenna's feet, and she barely steadied herself. The energy in the hall began to morph into something sinister, something alive, both inviting and fatal. With every ounce of strength, Jenna backed away, pushing through the storm of fearful whispers, voices pleading for her to turn back. There was a name she had to uncover, a face long gone, hidden behind the canvases of pain. But Cole's warning flashed through her thoughts, mixing with Evelyn's desperation. Should she heed his call and escape? Or chase the ghostly whisper that promised understanding? Time was slipping, and Jenna sensed it like a clock ticking toward an inevitable end. If she didn't find him soon, she might join the shadows forever. What lay hidden within the depths of her past? Would she be able to face the truth that beckoned her? Jenna felt the weight of the shadows closing in, wrapping around her like a suffocating blanket. Each whisper grew more frantic, a relentless tide pulling her into a darkness she could hardly grasp. Find him, the voices chanted, a haunting mantra that filled every inch of the grand hall. Cole's eyes moved wildly, scanning the shifting darkness around them. We need to go, Jenna. He urged, extending a hand toward her, but the shadows seemed to creep closer, their cold caress mingling with her rising panic. The air thickened, charged with an electric energy that hummed cruelly in her ears. Who is he? She implored, her voice barely a whisper amidst the chaos. What do I need to do? It's too late. Cole shouted, his desperation morphing into something primal. You can't with that. The shadows lunged, intertwining with hers. Jenna stumbled back, a scream trapped in her throat as the darkness drew near. A chilling laugh, echoing like the ringing of dread bells, resonated from the depths. This wasn't just fear, it was terror, a bone-deep knowing that nothing would be the same again. As she braced for the inevitable, Evelyn's figure flickered amidst the shadows, her once pleading eyes now wide with urgency. You must break the cycle. She implored. The past is not behind you. It's here. You're the key, Jenna, but you have to face what you fear most. Jenna felt the ground beneath her shift, as if even the earth was trying to flee from the gathering storm. What am I supposed to face? She cried out, her heart racing, fighting the urge to cave into the rising tide. Find him before it's too late. Evelyn's voice echoed around her, looping in a haunting crescendo, before she was swallowed whole by the encroaching shadows. Cole. Jenna turned to him, her fear morphing into determination. I have to find him, whoever he is. Cole shook his head, his face stark with despair. You don't understand. We thought we could change history. But every time we try, it just what? She demanded, the anger bubbling within her. It stays the same. Someone is suffering because of us, because of this painting, whatever it means. I want to let darkness win. Without waiting for his reply, Jenna sprinted toward where the painting hung, shrouded in shadow. The moment she stepped closer, the air crackled, a connection sparking between her and the art. It pulsed beneath her fingertips, not just a canvas but a living, breathing entity. She could almost see the echoes of lives lost, of secrets buried deep beneath the brushstrokes. Then, she paused, an idea forming like a glimmering ember in the icy darkness. What if understanding was the first step? What if finding him was not just a physical journey, but an uncovering of the truth within? Suddenly, the loud crash of wood splintering rang through the hall, and Jenna turned to see a shadow content to come forward. It was darker than the rest, more defined, a being that froze the blood in her veins. You dare approach? It boomed, a voice like ice scraping against stone. Jenna stood rooted, a mix of dread and resolve swelling within her. I'm not afraid, she managed to say, her voice steady. Fear is not what holds you back, the shadow hissed, its form shifting restlessly. It is the truth you are reluctant to face. With that, the shadow lunged forward, and Jenna felt gravity shift as she was pulled into the depths of darkness once more. She couldn't breathe, the world around her spinning wildly. Then everything stopped, and she stood in another place entirely, an eerie silence stretching before her. Who is he? Jenna whispered to the void, her heart pounding loudly. Who do I need to find? As she searched the shadows for answers, she felt an unsettling presence flutter behind her. The darkness enveloped her in its grip, and she braced herself for whatever might emerge, knowing that every choice led deeper into a web of her past. In that moment, Jenna understood one thing: the truth she sought could very well lead to her own unmaking. Would she find the answers she craved, or was she simply stepping deeper into madness? The next chapter of her life waited, lurking just beyond the shadows. Jenna stood motionless, her heart hammering as the shadows closed in around her. The silence felt alive, whispering secrets that made her skin crawl. She scanned the void, looking for anything that might hint at a way out, but all she saw was darkness. Who is he? She repeated, the question echoing in the empty space. It was no longer just about saving someone, it was about understanding this madness that seemed to swallow her whole. Suddenly, she felt a cold breeze slither around her, a shiver creeping down her spine. From the depth of the darkness, a flicker of light appeared as if trying to penetrate the fog. It flared briefly and then dimmed, revealing a figure halfway between human and shadow. Jenna squinted, trying to make sense of the impossible. Help! She called, her voice thick with desperation, but the figure only watched her, eyes swirling with despair and a haunting mixture of familiarity. You cannot hide from what is already known, it said, its voice a haunting melody that sent chills over her skin. Are you? Jenna hesitated. Are you him? The figure shook its head slowly, its form wavering like a mirage. I am a fragment, a memory of what was lost. The one you seek is beyond. Her breath hitched. Then guide me. Please, I need to find him. The shadow shifted, revealing the outline of a face, one that Jenna recognized from the painting. To reach him, you must confront the truth, your truth. Face the choices made, face the pain. I don't understand. She stumbled back, fear clawing at her. What choices? What pain? The memory flickered like a candle fighting against the wind, and Jenna felt the darkness closing in, tightening its grip. You are woven into this tapestry, Jenna. Every thread is connected. You must unravel the knots you created. Without warning, the figure surged forward, engulfing her. She gasped as the world twisted again, colors bleeding like fresh wounds, and she found herself standing in a small, dimly lit room. The scent of paint and turpentine filled the air, and in the corner, a young boy sat trembling, drawing on a scrap of paper. "No," she whispered, taking a step back. "What is this?" The boy looked up, and Jenna's heart stopped. He had the same dark hair and wide eyes she remembered from the picture. "You shouldn't have come here," he said, his voice trembling. "What happened to you?" She choked out, her chest tightening. "I'm here to help." But his expression hardened, revealing fear that cut deeper than any blade. "Help? You can't help me. You're part of this too." Jenna felt the weight of his words press down on her. Every heartbeat was a reminder of the heaviness surrounding the truth she'd avoided for far too long. "No, that can't be true. I want to save you." The boy shook his head. "You save no one without first saving yourself. It's not just about me, it's about the choices you made." Her stomach twisted in knots. "What choice?" The room began to swirl, memories flooding back like unwelcome tides. She saw flashes of laughter, then arguments, moments of joy intertwined with regrets. Each image pulled her deeper into the shadows of her past, demanding confrontation. As she sank further into that moment, the boy's eyes locked onto hers, and she felt an ache within. "You have to face it, Jenna, before it consumes you both." Before she could respond, everything shifted again, and the darkness enveloped her, pulling her back into a void. "No!" she screamed, clawing at the emptiness. But the shadows swallowed her words, leaving only an unsettling quiet behind. When Jenna's breath steadied, she found herself back in the grand hall, panting as if surfacing from deep waters. Cole's frantic figure stood before her, eyes wide with a mix of hope and fear. "I thought I lost you," he exclaimed, reaching for her. "Cole," she gasped, the weight of what she'd just seen pressing on her. "I saw him. I saw the boy, but the truth, it's all connected. I need to understand it all before it." Her voice faltered. "Before it ends us." A voice echoed from somewhere unseen, chilling them both. "It's too late for understanding. Only one path remains." Jenna felt dread coil in her stomach. What choice would they have to make? What would the shadows ask of them next? As the air thickened around them, thick with an impending storm, Jenna realized the truth would not just reveal itself, it would demand its price. Jenna's heart pounded louder now, each thump resonating in the encroaching darkness. It felt like a sentient force, tightening around her throat, squeezing her breaths into shallow gasps. She looked at Cole, his expression a mirror of her panic. "What do you mean, only one path remains?" Cole asked, his voice trembling. Their eyes darted around, the shadows creeping closer, eager to engulf them. Before the overwhelming silence could answer, the air crackled with energy. A low rumble vibrated beneath their feet, a disturbing reminder that something was shifting, something alive. "We need to move," Jenna urged, urgency lifting her voice above the haunting atmosphere. "Where?" Cole's eyes flared with desperation, lingering on shadows that seemed to pulse with a life of their own. "The only way is forward. We need to find the truth," she insisted, stepping into the darkness, pulling Cole with her. They advanced together, hand in hand, but the shadows whispered their fears as they passed, taunting their insecurities. Each murmur turned her stomach. Did the darkness know their secrets? A chill swept through, creeping into her bones. "Trust me," Jenna said, her voice steady despite the dread weighing heavy in the air. As they pressed on, the room shifted again, the walls melting away like wax. Suddenly, they stood on the brink of a massive abyss, swirling smoke lifting from its depths black and menacing. Cole gripped her hand tighter, his knuckles white. "Do we really have to go in?" "There's no other way to find him," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "This is where all the choices converge. The boy, he's waiting for us." One glance between them solidified their resolve. The shadows roared, a cacophony of despair that threatened to steal away their will. Jenna swallowed hard, heart racing, and stepped towards the edge, peering into the swirling void. Together she urged, and with a deep breath, they leaped into the abyss. The sensation of falling was dizzying. The air rushed past them, cold and suffocating. Jenna clutched Cole's hand tightly, squeezing for comfort as streaks of light snaked around them, pulling them deeper into the darkness. The plunge seemed eternal, but then, just as it felt they might be lost forever, they landed with a jarring thud on solid ground. The sensation surged through Jenna like the weight of all her choices crashing down at once. When she looked up, they found themselves in a dimly lit gallery filled with paintings, each canvas draped with shadows, portraits bearing expressions of sorrow and longing. She stepped forward, scanning the frames. Her breath caught in her throat as she recognized them one by one. Moments from her own past crystallized on the canvases. Cole's hand slipped away from hers. "Jenna, look." He pointed toward the far wall where an enormous painting towered above the rest. It depicted a boy familiar and striking, a mirror of the child in her memories, eyes wide with fear and pleading for help. "That's him!" Jenna shouted, the panic bubbling in her chest. They moved closer, but as they did, the air crackled with an electric tension. The room darkened further, shadows curling from the paintings, forming tendrils that twisted toward them. "Each brush stroke holds a fragment of your past," an ominous voice echoed through the gallery. "To escape this prison, you must confront each choice or be consumed by them." "What does that mean?" Cole breathed, his eyes darting nervously. Jenna felt cold sweat bead on her forehead, heart racing as fragmented memories began to surge within her. The laughter of children, the shattering of glass, missed opportunities, each memory pressing like a weight on her chest. "We need to break the cycle," she whispered, glancing at Cole, but shadows were thickening around them, blacker than before, whispering doubts, but Jenna squared her shoulders. "We can do this together, Cole. We must face them or risk losing everything." As they approached the towering canvas, a warm light started to glow from its center. It flickered like hope in a storm. "This is it," Jenna said, pulling Cole closer. The whispers intensified, fear clawing at her heart. "What if we fail?" Cole murmured. "Then we learn," she replied, determination shining in her eyes. "We have to try." But before they could reach out and touch the painting, the shadows surged forward, blinding them in an all-consuming darkness. "Now you'll see the truth," the voice echoed, chilling them to the bone. Jenna didn't want to know what lay ahead. Fear slammed into her. Would they uncover the truth or drown in the abyss of their past? Just as she steeled herself for the darkness, the light flickered again, revealing eyes piercing and knowing, staring right back at her. "Will you run, or will you face me?" The figure whispered, and Jenna knew, in that moment, their next choice would define everything. Jenna's heart raced, a drum echoing against an unseen wall as the figure stepped closer. Shadows shifted like living creatures, retreating to reveal a face, disturbingly familiar. It was her own, twisted into an expression she had long buried: guilt, fear, and despair. "Do you recognize yourself?" The figure taunted, voice dripping with mockery. Jenna stumbled back, a tremor coursing through her body. "No, this isn't me." "Ah, but it is," the figure replied, a smile creeping onto its lips. "Every choice you made led you here. Every moment you ran from, every truth you ignored." Cole stood frozen, his own expression turning to one of horror as he realized the reflection of Jenna's pain in the painting. "What do you want from us?" he stammered, glancing between Jenna and the figure. "To confront your past," the figure replied, eyes glinting with a predatory hunger. "Face your mistakes or be consumed by them." Jenna felt the ground beneath her quiver. The whispers grew louder, drowning out her thoughts. They echoed her deepest fears. What if she never found the boy? What if her choices had sealed his fate? She forced herself to breathe, to ground herself, as the shadows closed in again. Together, she murmured to Cole, though she felt the weight of doubt pressing her down. The figure's laughter twisted through the air, a chilling melody that sent shivers down her spine. "Together? You think that will save you? Your bond is fragile. Ties can break, especially under the weight of truth. No. Jenna shouted, a surge of anger cutting through her fear. We've faced darkness before. We can do it again. Suddenly, the shadows coiled tighter, forming a barrier around them. Then you must choose, the figure commanded, voice booming like thunder. Face the memories, or be swallowed by the darkness. Time is running out. Jenna's breath hitched, her mind racing through the memories swimming in the swirling darkness. Each painful snapshot flashed before her family's heartbreak, her mistakes, lost love. Suddenly, a realization broke through. If I face this, maybe I can save him, save us. The figure's eyes shone bright. Then touch the painting. Embrace your truth. With a determined heart, Jenna stepped forward, feeling Cole's presence behind her. I'm not afraid. She reached out, fingers brushing against the cold canvas. In an instant, the gallery exploded with blinding light. Jenna and Cole were tugged into a whirlwind of colors and sounds. The shadows screamed as light cascaded around them, illuminating every corner of the room. Jenna squeezed her eyes shut, memories rushing through her like a torrent. Suddenly, the light flickered, revealing scenes from her past fragile moments transformed into vivid clarity. The joy, the pain, the decisions, all crashing together like waves against rocks. She could feel the pressure in her chest, swelling and pulsing. Now remember. The figure shouted, its voice distorted by the chaos. With her heart racing, Jenna dove into her memories. She saw herself as a child, smiling and carefree the moment before she lost everything. The sight clawed at her, drawing fresh tears as she cried out, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. The figure's smile grew wider, almost gleeful. Acceptance is the key. Will you accept your past? Yes. Jenna gasped, eyes flaring with determination. I accept all of it. The moment the words left her lips, the swirling light intensified, wrapping around her like a cocoon. Cole's hand squeezed hers tightly, a tether anchoring her. But the figure screeched, rage painted across its features. You can't escape that easily. The shadows writhed, fighting against the light, but with one final push, Jenna felt a spark of power ignite within her. She opened her eyes to meet her own gaze in the painting, fearless and fierce, and in that moment, she understood. I am more than my past. I choose my future. The light erupted in a blinding flash, sending the darkness reeling back. But even as the shadows dissipated, Jenna felt a chill brush against her thoughts. Yet, laughter echoed in the distance, chilling her to the bone. A promise of unfinished business. We'll meet again. A new wave of uncertainty descended. What had she truly unleashed? They emerged from the surge of light, breathless and raw, but ahead lay another door painted in darkness, a new challenge awaiting them. Are you ready for what's next? Cole asked, eyes wide with uncertainty. Jenna nodded, but doubt lingered in her chest. What if this isn't over? As they stepped towards the door, the air thickened, swirling with ominous energy, hinting that their journey was far from complete. What awaited them on the other side? The door creaked open, a great sigh escaping the wood as Jenna and Cole crossed the threshold into the next chamber of the twisting, intangible landscape they found themselves in. The air, heavy with a musty scent, felt thick like fog, muffling their thoughts, wrapping them in shrouded uncertainty. The walls pulsed gently, seemingly alive, covered in scribbles of memories that twisted and shifted with every heartbeat. Where are we? Jenna whispered, anxiety surging through her. I don't know, but something feels off, Cole replied, glancing around. Shadows flickered at the corners of their vision, almost breathing, shifting as if anticipating their next move. It struck Jenna with a jolt. The atmosphere felt achingly familiar. This is where the boy was, she stammered, a shiver racing down her spine. The memories wavered in the shadows, his laughter, the family warmth, then darkness. She couldn't escape it. Suddenly, a figure materialized from the mist, almost dissolving from the shadows, revealing itself with a flickering glow. It was a little boy, just as she remembered, the same wide, frightened eyes. He stood there, trembling, as if caught between joy and despair. "Please help me," his voice quaked in the air. The echoes of Evelyn's warning surged through Jenna's mind, "Find him before it's too late." Was this the boy? The soul that had been trapped for so long? "Who are you?" Jenna ventured forward, heart racing. "I'm lost." "It wasn't my fault," he whispered, his gaze darting nervously. "Mom, she didn't mean to." All the earlier discoveries collided within Jenna. What happened? She pressed, her breath faltering, as she sensed the boy's turmoil. "The painting, it was meant to protect me. But it trapped us all. Mom loved me too much, and it twisted everything," he said, tears creeping down his cheeks, shadows swirling around him like a dark storm. "Where is she?" Jenna asked, desperation clawing at her throat. "I need to find her." Suddenly, the air shifted, a sharper breeze tugging at their clothes. Around the boy, shadows wriggled, gasping in a chorus of suffering. "She is here, but you have to help us both." Jenna's determination flared. "I will." "What do I need to do?" "Face the choices," the boy breathed, stepping closer to the blurred edges of the light. "Every choice that brought me here. Face her pain." Together, Cole added, steeling himself beside her. In that moment, Jenna felt everything coalesce: the heat of anguish, the flickering light of hope. This wasn't just about saving the boy, it was about reckoning with a past that had haunted so many souls. Jenna inhaled deeply, feeling the warmth of Cole's hand on hers, pulling her back from the precipice of despair. With fierce resolve, they turned toward the deepening shadows. Together, Jenna echoed, time pooling around them. "We'll find her, we'll break the curse." A rush of energy surged, pushing through the darkness. The shadows shrieked, shifting around them violently. As the thin veil separating truth from consequence stretched, Jenna and Cole found themselves back in the grand hall from before, but now it felt different, charged, almost alive with anticipation and heartache. "Face the truth!" they shouted in unison, turning toward the looming portrait of the boy. "We will." The painting flickered, colors swirling like liquid fire, and in an instant, a new figure emerged, a woman, her face hauntingly familiar. It was Evelyn, but this time she stepped forward as the walls trembled, anguish painted across her features. "Why did you leave me?" Her voice echoed, a shattering wail that pierced through Jenna's heart. "I never wanted to," Jenna replied, the grief wrapping around her like a familiar shroud. "I just wanted to save you, to save him." Evelyn's gaze softened, filled with a longing that transcended time. "I couldn't protect him. The love twisted my choices. I tried to contain everything for his sake. But love can turn dark, you must understand." "No." Jenna felt raw anger ignite within her. "You didn't have to. It shouldn't mean sacrificing your light or his." Suddenly, a deep crack resonated through the air as if the very foundation of their reality was at stake. The shadows writhed in fury, darkness threatening to collapse upon them. "Your choices, they don't disappear. They echo through time," Evelyn said, her voice trembling as she stepped closer, anguish etched on her face. "You need to embrace the pain to heal. Only then can you break the cycle." Jenna's breath caught, realizing the enormity of it all. "But how? How can I face this?" "Listen," Evelyn pressed, extending her hand toward Jenna. "Listen to the truth, and seek forgiveness within your soul. Only then will you unlock the shadows." Jenna nodded slowly, her heart racing as she felt the weight of generations pressing upon her shoulders. "I will, but we'll do it together." In that moment, shadows gathered around them, furious, encroaching toward the pain they wished to conceal. Yet Jenna held fast to her resolve, bracing against the tumult. Evelyn's hand glowed, sparking against the darkness. "Together, remember your choices." And as they pressed forth, Jenna's heart surged, bolstered by raw energy. Insight coursed through her, connections forged by love, by betrayal, and by choice. Each pulse etched into her soul, and the boy's voice echoed, clear as day. "I believe." With renewed strength, Jenna and Cole stepped into the light, merging their essences with the tumultuous energy that enveloped them. Blissful warmth washed over them, illuminating all hidden corners of despair. "I forgive myself," Jenna shouted, feeling freedom unfurling in the shadows. "I forgive what was done. And I vow to take this new path free from the shackles of my past." In that moment, the shadows shrieked, exploding in a cacophony of light, casting aside layers of anguish and releasing endless echoes of pain. They felt their hands weave together between realms past, present, and future, surrounded by a brilliance so fierce it cleared away the chains of despair. "Thank you," Evelyn whispered in that blinding brightness, dissipating into fragments of pure love. The boy's face turned peaceful, shimmering into a vision of happiness, and for a heartbeat, the world stilled, with a resounding crack, the painting shattered, shards of dark memories and regrets collapsing into dust, freeing the souls bound within. Jenna felt the truth unfurl within her, warm and liberating, their journey finally coming to a close. "Is it really over?" Cole asked softly, brushing her cheek with his hand. Jenna sighed, feeling the tapestry of her choices finally settling into place. "No, it's the beginning," she replied, standing taller than she ever had before. As the weight of her past lifted, she turned to the horizon, where the dawn began to break a promise of brighter days ahead. Before long, the gallery faded, leaving them breathless and unharmed. The light shimmering around them hinted at the possibilities yet to unfold, reminding Jenna that every new dawn comes with challenges, and yet they were ready. "Together," she whispered, strength sparking in her heart, igniting a journey rooted in hope and healing, weaving them into the very fabric of their future. As they stepped forward into the unknown, Jenna could finally breathe because within her was the truth, the light, and the unwavering bonds that held them all together. Now, as they stood at the threshold of a new beginning, they took that step together, and their laughter echoed on the winds of hope, rich, profound, and authentic. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and to show your support. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this incredible ending. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your participation means everything. Join the journey and stay connected.